Creation. What I want you to do is I want you to picture a Superdome. Big, giant Superdome. You go in and in the top of the ceiling, there are all the lights are on. You go in, everything is in different sections. You have the playing field in the middle. You have all of the seats all around, surrounding you. And you have the press box, and you sit there and you're totally entertained, and people bring food to you. Life is good in the Superdome. Now that's what I want you to picture with creation. So creation begins with the book of Genesis as a firmament. Well, what exactly is a firmament? Well, it's like a giant dome. It's just like the Superdome. But the problem with this dome is that it's full of water. It's just water. There's no light. You can't light a match in water, right? You can't have a sun because the water will put the sun out. So you have this huge dome just full of water. And we call this a death zone. You can't have life in there. There's no light, there's no photosynthesis, nothing can happen. Then it's just a lifeless void. That's what we're going to call it. So creation is that God takes a lifeless void and turns it into a beautiful garden just teeming with life. And that's what creation is. So think of that so when you think of creation, think of it starts out as this lifeless void, and God's going to turn it into a beautiful garden. Now that theme is going to go out throughout all of the Pentateuch. The Israelites are going to go in a desert. It's another light death zone. And then God's going to bring them into a beautiful garden. So you can see that God is really good at turning death zones into life-teeming, beautiful gardens. So that's what happens with the Pentateuch. Begins with this notion of a garden. Now, why a garden? Well, a garden is symbolic. It's symbolic of God's place. This is where God lives, where God dwells. It's His presence is in the garden. When God is present, things pop into existence. Things grow. Things are happy. Things are thrive. They're exciting. That's the point of the garden. So the garden really is a symbol of God's presence. God, I guess, is pretty big, so He needs a big universe for His home. Now, when you say that the garden, this universe, is God's home, another way of saying that is His temple, that this is the temple of God, is really this garden. So whenever you see temple, it's a symbolic. Whenever you hear of the Psalms talking about beautiful gardens and animals and all that beautiful beauty, it means that it's a symbol of God's presence, which is really another way of saying the temple. Now, at the last day, the sixth day, God makes humans and puts humans now in the works. Now, humans are very different from all the other animals. I mean, picture a cow. A cow, he gets up in the morning and he chews the grass, and then at the end of the day, takes a nap. Humans are different. Humans get up and they wake up and, whoa, look at that giraffe. And they go, oh, look at that sunset. Oh, look at the stars. We'll put them up there. See, cows don't do that, but humans do. So humans they can marvel. They can be in a state of absolute amazement and awe. And that's the ability of humans, is to be able to perceive God and God's great works. Now, you know that God is invisible. You can't see God, but you can see God through His works. So it's humans that are able to now see God through the beauty of God's works, and our hearts are lifted up, and we feel this surge of excitement and praise of God. So that's what happens in the garden. Humans see God because of His works, and then the humans express all of this awe by shouting out or saying something, and that's what praise is. That's exactly what prayer is. Prayer is the ability of God giving you a reason to praise Him. And so humans are in this garden and they're marveling. Now, what is important to understand is that when God gives, because God can have a relationship with humans, because humans are able to perceive God, there can be this relationship. And in this relationship, there's a working together kind of relationship. So now God has his garden, which is His temple, and we now need priests. We need priests to take care. That's what priests do. Priests take care of the garden. So that's what the human's job is to guard, to watch. And these are all the same verbs that are used to describe priests in the book of Leviticus. So here we are. So we humans are in the garden. We have this responsibility of being priests, taking care of God's presence in God's temple, and everything is going very well until something happens, something really bad happens. And that's what we're going to look at in the next video.